Here we go now. A case of beer, some barbecue. There's no doubt that
Check. Testing 1, 2.
with these looks and these moves, you can't blame me for being so rude. The land of the red, white, and blue will be my home till the day I die. I'm every lady's fantasy. I'm the American guy. The trailer park is where I'm from. You better believe I have about 27 guns. Baseball games, pickup trucks. I'm leagues above you other dumb schmucks. I'm from where the women are hot and the Twinkies are deep fried. And every day I pledge allegiance to God and country. I'm the American guy.
Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Filsinger Games Fan Podcast. This is the Filsinger Games Fan Podcast, episode number 122 for January 8th, 2021. Welcome, everybody. This is the podcast that knows much better than to wear a fuzzy Viking helmet shirtless after Labor Day. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It is great to see you all. Welcome. There's people already in here and ready to chat. I'm super excited about this. We got a lot of news. Not a lot of news, but some big news. And before we get to that, I do want to give a special shout out to the Patreon patrons who help make this show and the other content from Saturday Morning Media possible. Thanks to these folks and others. If you like these videos, if you like this podcast, become a patron over at patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media. And all right, let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen, because we had a big, not a surprise announcement, but we got some more details about an upcoming event on the Filsinger Games website. So let's check it out. It is the Filsinger Games. They're calling it the Filsinger Games Perennial 2021. I love that. This is the virtual event that will be held, I'm assuming, via Zoom. That's what all the other events have been, so I assume it is via Zoom. It's happening 2 weeks from tomorrow, Saturday, January 23rd, 2021. It starts at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time and runs through, and probably a little bit over because that's how these things go, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And there are going to be tournaments. There's going to be breakout discussion rooms, Q&A with Werner Meek. Super excited about that, my good buddy Werner. Panels and announcements for legends, indies, and champions of the galaxy. There's going to be a trivia competition. I think it's specifically a legends trivia competition. Tom Filsinger will be making an appearance, and much more. Tickets will go on sale this coming Monday, January 11th, at filsingergames.com. There's going to be two different ticket options. One ticket for those who just want to come and hang out, and the other for those who want to play tournaments. All the details for this will be released on Monday. There'll be much more scheduled details in terms of how things are going to break down time-wise, so you can plan your day. And there will be a limited edition game card that is available only to attendees. So like at Galacticon, there was Akuma the Ninja. You want to be there for this. You don't want to miss out on this, because this is going to be fun. Again, this all happens on January 23rd. So you know that the Filsinger Games Fan Podcast is going to be there. We'll be there covering it for you. And we may even, I'm thinking maybe we'll even put out a special edition of the podcast Saturday night to go over all the things that were announced at the podcast or at the virtual event. So I will see you there. Super excited about this. More details coming Monday, and that's when you can get your tickets. All right. Well, it's time for the main event of this episode, and that is the Legends Expansion 6 review. Now, I've talked about this set over and over and over again, and I think you know my thoughts on this set, but we're going to go through it again. We're going to go card by card almost, and I'm super excited to go through these because, let me tell you, as you'll hear, I've been loving the heck out of this set. I really, really have. So let's get started. We're going to start with the cards that were colorized cards of black and white cards. And that includes the Magnificent Morocco, Don Morocco, Cowboy Bob Orton, Hillbilly Jim, George the Animal Steel, and Coco Beware. It is so great to have these updated versions of the cards. Morocco and especially Cowboy Bob Orton are big players in my Fed. So it's great to see them now on the table in color. And, I'm super excited. I've wrestled a couple matches with each of them, but I'm excited to see in the long run if this kind of skews them even further in my Fed or keeps them the same. I don't know. I'm very excited to check it out. I will say George the Animal Steel. Can you still hear me? Are you able to still hear me? Yeah, okay. Somebody said in the chat, did I lose audio? But we still have audio. Okay, good. This will all be edited out of the audio podcast. See, the folks who watch on YouTube and Twitch, you get behind the scenes stuff that gets cut out of the audio stuff. So this will all be cut out. All right. So George the Animal Steel is my absolute favorite art in the set. My absolute favorite art. I mean, all the art is fantastic, but the top of the line, the detail in the George the Animal Steel art is just incredible. Now, if you ordered the set and you pre-ordered the set, you got a version with the green tongue. And there was a re-release, replacement cards that were sent out, or if you order it now, you get the version with just a human flesh-colored tongue, the normal flesh-colored tongue. So I prefer the green tongue in the artwork, but luckily because I pre-ordered and I was able, and also there on the back of the George Animal Steel card, there was a typo. An asterisk was in the wrong place. I believe that's what it was when we went over this. But the cool thing is getting the replacement card that has the corrected stats on the back and using plastic sleeves, I am able to put both cards into a plastic sleeve and use the green tongue as the artwork, use the corrected stats on the back as the back of the card, and it works out just fine. Super excited to get that, just to get, I don't know, the artwork on the George Animal Steel card is just fantastic. Green tongue or no. The details and the turnbuckle fluff, if that's I guess what you want to call it, is just absolutely fantastic. As a little side note here, I actually have a vintage 1980s, this is not a reproduction because I bought it over a decade ago, WWF turnbuckle pad. And I've always just wondered, like, if I rip this open, would it be the fluffy stuff inside? But I would never do that. Anyway, super excited about having all these guys in the set, and this is just a bedrock foundation. I mean, you look at all these guys, just a bedrock foundation to start any set. Gordon Solis. Now, I'll tell you, growing up, I did not watch Gordon Solis because where he was on, the shows that showed him, not playing in my area when I was growing up, or if they were, I did not aware of them. But I will tell you this, even though I did not watch him, I knew his name way back then. He was someone who, in Pro Wrestling Illustrated and the other wrestling magazines, you would read his name all the time. I certainly knew who he was. I have not used his card yet, but I'm super looking forward to doing so. He is going to kind of fill in for Bill Apter. Bill Apter is sort of retiring, taking some time off in my Fed because he's been there since year one, and he's gotten roughed up a few times with the set being destroyed and all that. So I'm excited to have this sort of ringside interview type thing going on, especially because I do I always picture my Fed as sort of a studio wrestling type thing, at least for their television shows. So very excited to have Gordon Solie in there, and we'll certainly be talking about Gordon Solie again here in a second. Moving on, Powers of Pain. Absolutely love this signing. I just love it. The version of the Warlord that was released in the black and white was the version of the Warlord that was sort of past, him with this scepter and the head plate thing. That was after I'd kind of stopped watching wrestling, because I think I was deep into high school and stuff like that. So it wasn't something I was watching every single week like it had been before. So I wasn't that familiar. So I was so excited to get the Powers of Pain in here and get a Powers of Pain version of Warlord, Powers of Pain version of Barbarian. These are the first of the new. I'm using new, even though I know Warlord had a card before, but I consider them both new cards because they're Powers of Pain tag team focused. These were the first new cards I brought into my Fed. I brought them in early, and they dominated my California Cup tag team tournament, including a big squash win over the Midnight Express. That was their debut match, was a squash win over Midnight Express. So certainly have performed just as I'd want them to. They have fought their way up to the champs, who currently in my Fed are the Bolsheviks, and they've had 2 run-ins with them and haven't been able to, both of them have ended in, Kane was involved and things like that. So we haven't had a definitive winner, but that's coming soon, and the Bolsheviks should be worried, I think. Super excited. I just love the Powers of Pain, and I kind of phased out the Road Warriors, and so I'm loving that seemingly so far they are... the Powers of Pain are kind of taking that, kind of that destructive tag team thing. And actually, the funny thing is, they are managed by Mr. Fuji, who with Magnificent Morocco is sort of a heel manager. But they are cheering on the Powers of Pain, the fans in my Fed. So, the fans in my head, should I say. but I'm super excited with the Powers of Pain. They are just, the artwork is great. The stats are fantastic. Super excited to have them in the Fed. And of course, the main headliners of this amazing expansion pack 6, the incredible British Bulldogs. This is a huge, huge signing. I was always a Heart Foundation fan, so, I was not the biggest lover of the British Bulldogs, but I understand the magnitude and the gravity of getting Dynamite Kids signed to the game. And what's great about this was, again, just like the Warlord, I wasn't really watching WWE when WWE when Davey Boy Smith became the British Bulldogs and had his big singles run. I did see him later on during like the Attitude era and stuff like that, but I was the British Bulldogs. That's what I was a fan of, and so yeah, I mean that's what I knew, not necessarily a fan of, because again, a Heart Foundation fan, but I was super excited to get these cards because I normally, otherwise, would not have used the Davey Boy Smith cards. So now I'm going to use Davey Boy Smith in my Fed. They had a dominant first match in my Fed. It was against Jobbers. I think it was, I call him Jim Milliman because that's what he was called in the WWF, and Kenny J. But still, just a great dominant win. Dynamite Kid getting the pin in that. There's no Matilda mechanic, so maybe I'll just have to create my own as they come to the ring with Matilda. So super excited to have the British Bulldogs in the set, of course. Adrian Adonis. This made me so happy. I'm so happy for Adrian Adonis in the game. Excited for someone for Jimmy Hart to manage. I know he has other people, but I always, when I think of the guys that Jimmy Hart managed, adorable Adrian Adonis was one of them. Adrian Adonis here as the golden boy in this artwork. But I'm super excited that it certainly seems, with hints on podcasts and even in the old handbook, that an adorable Adrian Adonis card will come out eventually. So super excited for that. Adrian Adonis won his first match in my Fed with Goodnight Irene, and I have some plans for him going forward. I'm super excited about. This is probably my second favorite piece of artwork, and part of the reason why is the reflection in Adonis's glasses on this card, you can almost see the photographer. Like, Werner did such a great job with the reflection in the glasses. Like, it's like you can just almost make out, you can see the lights, you can see kind of shapes and shadows, and it's just, he really did an amazing job on this. So super excited to have Adrian Adonis in the game. Now, Manny Fernandez, the Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez. He was the one guy in this set who I think I'd vaguely heard his name, but knew nothing about. I don't know anything about him. Didn't watch him when I was a kid. And I will say that, I'm super excited to have him in the game. Once he was announced, I started looking him up. I started looking up footage of him. I was looking up videos of him and footage and photos and everything like that. And looking at those photos and then looking at this card, to me, and this is just my opinion, I think the world of Werner. Werner is an amazing guy. This artwork, to me, at least in the body shape, does not represent Manny Fernandez maybe as well as it could. And I'm not critiquing Werner's art. It could be just whatever the reference photo was used. To me, in this, he looks a little skinnier. And when I watching all these videos and videos from the time period, I'm not watching current day videos of him because I guess he occasionally will step into the ring. He seems like a solid guy. Like, he's a big, solid, just tough guy. And to me, this artwork just does not show that. But that all said, this card right here, this Manny Fernandez card, having him in this set, actually got me to re-up my subscription to the WWE Network so I could watch old episodes of World Championship Wrestling to learn more about Manny Fernandez and bring him in for a run. So certainly super excited to get him in here. And the art is amazing. It's just not my favorite art piece in the set because I don't know if it necessarily represents him as well as it could. And that could just be reference photo or whatever. Anyway, I'm going on way longer on that than I should because it's such a minor thing. Super excited for Manny Fernandez in here as well. So there you go. There are the main cards, but are we done? No, we're not done because we got to talk about the managers. There was a manager SE pack, 3 managers, Jimmy the Mouth of the South Heart, Captain Lou Albano, and Mr. Fuji. An absolute another home run here. Been wanting a Fuji manager card forever. I've been using his black and white wrestler card that just has the distractor rating. But now I like that I can slip him into the ring. I occasionally have a manager battle royal where the manager will get, whoever wins will get a title shot for one of his wrestlers. And I like to do that every once in a while. So I'm super excited that we have a Fuji wrestling card reflective of his managerial career. Same with Captain Lou Albano. I love Jimmy Hart's chart. We need a wrestling version of him as well. That I do use that one from the old online promoter, I think is absolutely fantastic. So a color version of that. I was actually thinking of maybe I could send this to Werner and he could color it. But who knows? Maybe down the road we will be able to get that. And we cannot wrap this up without talking about Legends Prime, the final 4 names for Legends Prime. We got 4 cards instead of 3. I think the story that was told on Uncharted Territory was the chart for Golden Soli was just too much for 1 card. So they split it up into 2 cards. Great to get a post-match version of Gordon Soli. And great updates to previously released cards. I'm going to use all 4 of these cards in my Fed. Great to have an updated Virgil to go with the $1 Million Man. I love it. So wrapping up here, this set, I think, is the flagship set of the Legends of Wrestling line. I even think this set is more appealing than the starter set and should bring in a lot of new fans if it's advertised properly. To me, this is PWI ad material for sure. I don't even know. I guess PWI is still around maybe every once in a while. But to me, it's like if that was still a thing, if PWI was still a thing as it was in the 80s, this would be an ad that you would put in because it's a must buy. It absolutely is a must buy, and this heavily recommended by this very podcast. So there you go. There is my review of Expansion Pack 6 Legends of Wrestling. Just a home run. Nailed it out of the park. Fantastic set. And a huge high bar for the entire game as a whole, and for Filsinger Games. One of the best editions ever released. So moving on now, we are going to go to the question of the show. And last week's question of the show was, what is your Filsinger Games top 5 for 2020? And we had a lot of great answers, so let's check them out. This is from Ken West. Ken said his top 5 are I'm going to read them in the order he wrote them. Number 1, Legends Expansion 6. Number 2, Legends Prime 2020. 3, Chronos Battle Lines. 4, Women of the Indies. And 5, Best of Mexico. So that's from Ken West there. From I'm so sorry. You said I said it right before, but I'm stumbling on it now. Zhao Yun says, my clear number 1, the emergence of Filsinger Games podcasts like this one, the Uncharted Territory, and the King of Pro Wrestling podcast, and after further review on YouTube. Awesome. Simply awesome. So thank you for that. And yeah, definite shout out to all of our sister podcasts, brother podcasts. You know what I'm saying. Pete Beck chiming in with a disclaimer. Come on, you know what number 1's going to be, right? Honorable mention number 1, the virtual events. Can I ask for more? Well, I can, but I don't know if I should. Oh, there must be some more of that got cut off. I'm sorry about that, Pete. Honorable mention number 2, the emergence of podcast, or is it the re-emergence of them? Because, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Ashby had the CPC POW podcast for forever, like years before any of these. That was more of an in-game, sort of in-character type podcast. But yeah, these we honor our heritage on this podcast, and we know that Mark Ashby was the first one to do a Filsinger Games related podcast. And then of course you had the View from oh my gosh, The View from Filsinger Games. Was that the name of it? I don't know, but that Wiggy hosted. That was the other one too. So those are the podcasts that paved the way for those of us that are podcasting now. To continue with Pete Beck's list, number 5, Legends Expansion 6, The British Bulldogs. Number 4, Chronos Battle Lines, The Return of Proteus equals The Return of the Greek Gods. Well, it was Return on Chronos. Number 3, Invasion 2090. I think these color updates are something special. Number 2, Tournament of Champions, updated stats and art for some of the best ever. And number 1, of course, for Pete Beck, The Return of Death Knight in Origins 2136. I mean, what else could you ask for? Thank you, Pete, for chiming in there. Jay writes in, it says, my top 5 for 2020. Number 5, Virtual Galacticon. Number 4, Invasion 2090. The art was beautiful. Number 3, Best of Mexico set, Ray Horace, Daga Mil Muret. So sorry. Daga Mil Muertes. I can't talk tonight. Say no more. I won't, because I can't pronounce them, obviously. Number 2, finding this podcast, receiving the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood Cards, and reading the 2136 recap from Grant. Yeah, it's 3 things, but they're all related. Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate that. And number 1, Legends Expansion 6. Though as of this date, I have yet to receive the set. Yes, I'm still in the Battle Royal. Well, Jay, I hope by now you've gotten your set. I certainly hope so. And Joe M writes, my top 5 of 2020, 5 this year's Promoter Prime releases. Again, yes, fantastic. I totally agree with you there. Number 4, the emergence of the 3 Filsinger Games podcasts. Number 3, virtual get-togethers. Another one coming up on the 23rd. I'll see you there. Number 2, Legends Expansion 6. And number 1, Best of the Indies 2020. So great, covering all the bases here with all these top 5s. Thank you to everyone who answered. And now I have a new question of the show for you. And the question of the show is, how do you organize your booking ideas? Notebook, phone, what do you use to write down your booking ideas? It is late at night, you're drifting off to sleep, you get a brilliant idea for your Fed. Where do you write that? How do you keep that organized? I would love to know. You can answer in the comments below after the show is over, and then we will read them next week on the show. Now, the song of the show, ladies and gentlemen, is going to take a bit of a hiatus. Just for the week, so that we can bring you a new little experiment called Match of the Show. This is an experiment. Now, this podcast is all about Filsinger games and how much fun the Filsinger games products are to play. So I'm wondering if it'll work if every once in a while on the podcast, I play a match out right here on the podcast. Now, I know this will work on YouTube and Twitch because those have visuals, but will this work on the audio podcast? I don't know. You tell me when this is all over. Let's see if this works. Is it going to be fun? Is it going to be boring? Should I never attempt this again? You're going to let me know. Now, I will be using COTG online to do this, so you're not going to hear me actually rolling dice. You're just going to be hearing me do the commentary. And for our first match, I thought, you know what? We got to do a classic. We got to do a classic match. And what is that match going to be other than Thantos versus Star Warrior for the Galaxian Championship? Now, I will be using the cards from the recent Best of Champions of the Galaxy set. So these are their updated stats. Yeah, let's head on over to the game table where we've got Thantos and Star Warrior. Now, I'm going to try my best to do play-by-play commentary here for the folks who are listening to the audio podcast. And here we go. We're going to roll for initiative, and Thantos gets a 4, and Star Warrior gets an 8. So Star Warrior will have initiative. We'll roll on level 1 offense. Star Warrior locks in a headlock, and Thantos is dazed. So Star Warrior will roll again on level 1. He uses the Running Star Blast, but that is a choice E. So we'll look at the choice charts, and we'll see that, both of these are rough because Thantos has a -3 to power and a -2 to agility. But we will try the Scorpion Deathlock, which will work on a roll of 7 or less. And the roll is an 11, so it does not work. Thantos, the evil game master, reversing it with a knee lift to Star Warrior, who is dazed. That dazed him, so Thantos rolling on level 1. Neckbreaker 2, agility. Now, Star Warrior does have the agility, so he is going to reverse that on level 2. Hits him with a Tomahawk Thrust. 3, down 3, leave the ring. Thantos will leave the ring. The opponent comes out of the ring to continue to fight, but you grab it. Thantos grabs Star Warrior, smashes him onto the announce table. The referee may disqualify you. I didn't say this for the beginning, but this is a no disqualification match, so we're not going to have any disqualifications. If there's no disqualification, he tosses Star Warrior back into the ring and goes for the kill. So Thantos is going to roll on level 3, and he tosses Star Warrior out of the ring again. And the referee comes out and tries to hit you with an object like a steel chair. The referee tries to warn Thantos, but Thantos just pushes him away. There's no disqualifications here. And so Thantos smashes him with the chair, throws him back into the ring, and Thantos will roll on level 3 offense. See the Master Lock! He locks in the Master Lock, ladies and gentlemen. This will be the target is a 5. The roll is a 4. Star Warrior taps out to the Master Lock. That is it. Your winner, ladies and gentlemen, Galaxian champion Thantos, in quick fashion here. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. This is absolutely fantastic. There you go. As we head back to the PDF, Thantos is your winner, ladies and gentlemen. Now, did this work? Folks listening on the audio podcast at home, I know it's working for the 11 or so people who are watching this live, but did this work at home? If so, let me know. You can, reach out, give me a comment and stuff like that. And also, let me know who Thantos' next opponent should be for the next match of the show. Who should he defend the title against next? And here it is, my friend. It can be a legend as well. It can be anybody, as long as they're available on COTG Online, because that is the way we're going to do this. Thank you so much for indulging me, trying this out. I'm always trying to find new things to do on the podcast, and I thought, playing a match. We are already getting names. We're already getting suggestions. Wolf, Overkill. I love this. I'm super excited. All right. So hopefully maybe this will return. We'll see. As we wrap up here, we're going to talk about what is elsewhere on the channel, on the YouTube channel. I played 2 more nights of my Tournament of Legends events, so you can get those on the channel. Great live play evenings, and have been having amazing crowd coming in and watching all of these shows. And then I also just recently got back to doing the set overviews, so we got a CPC 2108 set overview as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is going to wrap it up. And I will say, do you know that we have an audio version of the show? I'm sure you do, because I was just talking about it seconds ago. But so you can listen to an audio version of this podcast. Tell me if the match thing works on audio. I don't know if it does or not. You can check it out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Filsinger Games in your favorite audio store, and it should pop right up. If you have a topic you would like the show to cover, leave it in the comments. Make sure to subscribe or follow, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, and follow G. Not affiliated in any way with Filsinger Games or its subsidiaries. It's purely for entertainment purposes. And this episode is copyright 2021 Saturday Morning Media. Big shout out to Todd, Steve, Larry, Michael, Chad. Who else was here? Larry is here. I sing Larry's name every time I see it. James, thank you for being here. I saw... Great discussion going on here. Salvador, thanks for being here as well. Appreciate it as well as always. Zawa the Butcher, thank you for being here, my friend. And